Salut! I hope you're enjoying your Christmas break and that you are studying hard using the previous videos we've made. In the meantime, I thought it would be fun to learn some French expressions, but each of these come with a story. While these expressions are not slang or super hip right now, they are real expressions that all Parisians know. Although, like me before I prepared this video, a lot of us don't know where they came from. Anyhow, let's get started. Entrer à l'œil, as in, hier je suis allé voir un film et je suis entré à l'œil. Before we learn this story behind this expression, let's analyze what it says. Entrer is the verb to enter. À l'œil means at the eye. So it basically means enter at the eye or to the eye. Can you guess what it means? No? Well, it means to get in for free. You might wonder what's the link between an eye and getting in without paying a cover, but the story behind it is very clear. See, in the beginning of the 20th century in Paris, we had what was called maisons closes, which literally means enclosed houses. Now, I had to look up how to say this in English without saying an offending word, because I don't know any, and I finally found that I could say that maisons closes were houses of ill repute. If you don't know what that is, well, look it up. Anyhow, with the back and forth in these houses, the police created a special brigade to make sure nothing fishy went on in there. This brigade was called La Brigade Mondaine, which would probably translate into English as the Society Police. Anyway, the member of this very special brigade wore a small eye badge on their uniform to be recognizable. Now you can guess it. When they knocked on the maison close door to get in and investigate, they wouldn't pay, of course. So they would point at the eye on their uniform and be let in immediately. And this is where the expression entrer à l'œil comes from. So to circle back to our example sentence at the beginning, hier, je suis allé voir un film et je suis entré à l'œil, this sentence would be translated, yesterday I went to see a movie and I got in for free. Nice. Alright, next. Attendre 107 ans, or prendre 107 ans, which means to wait for 107 years or to take 107 years. Now I have to say this one got me pretty good. I've said this my whole life and I never noticed that 107 years was such an arbitrary number. The truth is that when something takes forever, between quotes, as I've mentioned before, Parisians don't have a lot of patience. A lot of us, well, we say it takes 107 years. For example, je vais pas attendre 107 ans, which means I'm not going to wait for 107 years. Well, this sounds funny in English. All it means is I'm not going to wait here forever. Now, apparently, the reason we all use 107 for this arbitrary forever time is that this was how long it took to build Notre Dame. Actually, for the literary people watching this is why Victor Hugo recounts in Les Misérables, or Les Mis, how you call it, that the construction site for Notre Dame was long and dangerous. And above all, it created a permanent state of expectation in the district. It was difficult to bear for the Parisians who thought they would never see the finished cathedral. And the construction took so long that different styles were mixed over the decades. This is why the architecture of Notre Dame varies between primitive Gothic and radiant Gothic. So next time you visit Paris and see Notre Dame, remember to try this expression with a Parisian and tell them, je vais pas attendre 107 ans. Alright, next. Have you ever heard of the police in French, not so nicely being called les poulets, as in the chickens? Well, you should probably not say that to a policeman. After all, it is like calling them in English the name of your favorite pink farm animal. There is a story behind why Parisians started calling them that. It started about 150 years ago during the Paris Commune. The Paris Commune was another French Revolution where the revolutionaries seized power for 2 months. Now, to go back to our expression les poulets, The police used to have their headquarters on the Île de la Cité. But the revolutionaries, the communards, burned a lot of monuments and buildings having to do with the image of power or government, including the police headquarters. The police now had to be relocated, and our dear mayor of Paris, Jules Ferry, decided to relocate them to la caserne de la Cité. Now, can you guess what that building was built on? Yep, it was built right where the chicken market used to be. Of course, the Persians thought it was really funny, and that's where their funny name came from, and spread all across France really fast, to be by default the animal name for the police in French. Next, payer en monnaie de singe, which means to pay in monkey money. Now, this one is really cute and funny and dates from the Middle Ages. I would say that it's not used that much nowadays, but every Parisian definitely knows this expression. It used to mean to pay in kind, but now it means to pay in worthless money you can't convert in real money. For my fellow artists out there, have you ever been paid in exposure? Or to simply not pay or scam someone? Maybe in the age of crypto, this one can find a new life. Anyhow, in the Middle Ages, to cross the bridge between Notre Dame and the Saint-Jacques district to sell monkeys, you had to pay a toll of 4 deniers. But the jugglers, who were entertainers and animal trainers, had monkeys and they weren't selling them. So they would have to make the monkey dance to prove they were show monkeys to the god. And this is where the expression came from. There's also another source from the 13th century that quotes that Saint Louis had authorized monkey tamers to pay the toll with tricks and making faces, which is also part of the story behind this expression. Now, for our last one, have you ever heard of Faire les 400 coups, which means to make the 400 blows or shots? Well, this expression dates from 1621, when Louis XIII launched a war against the Protestants. He ordered his soldiers to successively fire 400 cannon shots against the town of Montauban to scare the inhabitants and have them surrender. But the inhabitants of Montauban apparently were not intimidated at all, and the story goes that instead of running away, they kept on partying. It's from this event that the expression was born, and today it means to live a life without morality, without respect of habits and customs. You could, for example, use this about someone quitting school and going to live their best life. You could say, il a arrêté ses études pour faire les 400 coups, which means he quit school to raise hell. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the stories behind these expressions. There's more to come, some more hip and trendy, some slang, and other surprises. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and click on the thumb up below if you like this video. In the meantime, thanks for watching, joyeux Noël et bonne année, et à la prochaine!